This workflow right here has auto-posted 47 videos to my YouTube channel in the last 60 days. No scheduling tools, no social media managers, just n8n running in the background. Let me show you what's inside. So here's why I actually stopped doing what everyone teaches. Number one, for YouTube automation, if you were to just search it right now, odds are you're going to find videos that cover AI automation, like faceless channels, which is good. It just didn't work out for me. You then have a voice to read the script. So something like Eleven Labs. You have an AI avatar. Sora 2 and VO3 at this point are really phenomenal at creating real life avatars. So you'll have a real life video with someone reading your script. My theory was I can create something similar, but just to run my personal brand. And it didn't really work out. It did work in the sense that it ran. The content that came out wasn't something I was proud of. Some of the videos were pretty decent, but I just wasn't passionate enough to keep on going. But there was still a gap that I saw that no one really covers how to create content for real creators, for all people who are showing themselves on camera but need automation. Imagine doing a video for 8 to 30 minutes long or 60 minutes long with an AI avatar. It gets expensive pretty quick. So I didn't need an n8n workflow to create my videos. I just need to handle everything after I hit record. So once I got over the hurdle of just being on camera and just doing it, really, I just realized that I don't need another workflow to make me create videos for me. I just needed something to handle the work and the entire process. And it's been a struggle from the beginning to the end, but through these weeks, I've learned more and more. Let me show you what I've actually built instead. So this diagram right here is a snapshot of what I call my content OS. But this is part of the video process. I record and I use a tool called Tela. But basically I record, drop it to editing software. I'm also testing this where I have an AI agent that does editing for me. But I record, pass it to my agent. It does edits that are 80%, 90% there. I just do minor edits in DaVinci or Descript, and then basically upload the video with n8n. This is not the full picture. I use something called Cloudflare, which is a free tool, like to host. Think of it like a Google Drive, but the files just become available faster. But that's the setup that works for me. Once a single video gets posted to YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. It also gets posted to LinkedIn and X, but we're just focusing on video. So, and all the descriptions and everything, all that is handled with a separate workflow. I just trigger everything and then it just gets uploaded. But just know that these two processes is very common. You record the video, you edit, and then this is the part I'm going to cover here, how all this happens. This is the workflow that makes the magic happen. You can see here, I'm going to go over it high level. It gets triggered by Notion. So I'm going to open this and it runs every minute. And it just checks for a status change. And if the status is ready to publish, like you see here, then it moves on to the next stage, which basically says, hey, I want you to look at that ID that was triggered, and I want you to grab all the page info in it. So just in layman terms, if you've never used Notion, you can create a page. There's almost like a notebook. And within that page, you can add stuff like text. If you recall earlier in the diagram, I mentioned that I would have the descriptions for TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And so there's just a separate workflow that runs before the upload that generates all this for me. So by the time I'm generating a script and I'm getting to the record, all this has already been generated. And that's another workflow, but all you need to know is that at this stage, we have the information we need. And so this is what it's grabbing here. It's grabbing the YouTube description, TikTok, Instagram description, and then basically uploads the video. I'm using a tool called Blotato. So once the video is uploaded, it just grabs more metadata. So this actually grabs the page that I was mentioning earlier. This grabs the record. This is what's pulled here. And then the main page information, like the YouTube description, this is what gets pulled here. And then this code note, all we're doing here is saying, hey, combine all of that information that we need. And I have conditions. So I'm just going to move here on Notion for a bit so you can just see this more clearly. This is what I call my content hub. This is where the magic happens, where everything is controlled, almost like a controller if you think about it. This platform is where I dictate, okay, I want to post this on YouTube, Instagram, whatever platforms. And going back to this workflow, that's what this is pulling. If you recall here, we're pulling metadata from Notion, which is just, think of it like this. For a given record, for example, if we change the status here to this record, only that record is being considered. And so here we can choose what platforms we want. And then that's what is happening here. For this specific switch, it's just saying, hey, we grab all the information from Notion. Is this going to post to which platforms? If I only ticked YouTube or X, it's only going to post to YouTube and X. If I ticked all 5 of them, which is in many cases I do, that's when that gets repurposed to all of them. And that's pretty much it. This is just a funky workaround to just say, hey, I want you to just update the status for Notion. That's all that is. So this is really the final step. This is just an additional step that changes the status. So I know it's ready to be scheduled or has been scheduled. So you can see here the status, it'll schedules at the bottom. So I figured for you to understand the full system, I need to show you the other missing piece because it does connect, even though the main highlight of this video is the YouTube automation. This technically is part of the YouTube automation because right here, this specific agent is the one that is responsible for generating the Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube descriptions. And this is triggered again by Notion in that dashboard that I mentioned when I change the status to context ready. So the first stage is I'm going to drop in my YouTube script, right? I flip it to ready, and what ends up happening is the agents get to work. They analyze that specific script for that single video, and then they generate a description for all these platforms. And here's the cool part. Instead of worrying about other platforms, these two agents worry about their platforms. So X and LinkedIn. So they take that script and then they generate content for X, a next post, a LinkedIn post. Oh, these aren't just random agents. They're not only trained for each platform, they actually understand it and they leverage templates that are proven. So for example, here we're grabbing hooks for specifically for X, and we have it categorized by type and it's already templatized. Same thing for the body. So let's say we're covering a tutorial, we feed it a tutorial template for the body, we feed it to tutorial hooks, and the agent gets that and only gets one, but basically understands how to take that using the script and then generates a LinkedIn post using the templates. LinkedIn does the same thing, and once this all is done, it just basically dumps it back to the Notion page. So if you were to open this, for example, you would just see it over here in the bottom somewhere. So that's pretty much this beast of a workflow, how it runs. So by the time we're recording, we already have a script and we already have all the assets that we just mentioned: LinkedIn, X, descriptions for all video platforms, and then we just edit. I want to mention a few things with this scheduling automation that are important. First, you see this date column. This is where you can literally pick the date and you can put the time. Otherwise, you can also have it to just auto queue it. But if you're like me, you're going to want more control and you're going to want to know exactly what time each post goes through. The other thing is, going back to this, the reason I made this dynamic, meaning before it would run and it would always generate assets, right? Even if you didn't use them, I would just ignore them. So if it didn't matter what I checked, the content generation workflow would just generate the LinkedIn, X, all of that every single run. Now, the reason why that's important is because even though I could just remove it, which is what I was doing, it gets expensive, right? You're paying for stuff you're not going to use. So this allows you to pick what you need every single time. Sometimes a video doesn't make sense to post on Instagram or YouTube, for example. Maybe you want to post it on all three only and not LinkedIn and X. Or maybe you just want to post it on YouTube. So this column here as well is something that allows you to post text only content for LinkedIn or X. It allows you to do that here via the Content Hub. And I will note that I'm only using this system for shorts. So I convert my shorts and I repurpose them from all 5 platforms, but I don't do this for long form video. This workflow runs well, but for long form, I just recommend you do manually, or you can just figure out your own workaround. So far we've been talking all theory. I've been showing you the workflows. Let me actually show you with a test run. So I created a new record in the Content Hub. I called it test. I'm gonna open this, and as you can see here, I have a dummy headline, dummy script. Here in this video URL, I'm gonna attach a Cloudflare URL right here. You upload it, but I prefer to just use Cloudflare because it's always instant. I can run it right now. Here's the workflow I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna first choose the platform. In this case, I just want YouTube. So we should only be able to schedule to YouTube. Let's just put the 31st of January. And I'm going to put it at 9 a.m. So I'm going to hit ready to publish. And I could, sometimes it takes a little while, but a quick hack is just to go to the workflow and just execute it. And that's what I do when I'm scheduling in batches. So now I'm just going to log in Blotato and I'm going to see the back end. Let's just see if it works. So you can see upload it and you see just only YouTube ran and it changed the status. So if we go back, it says scheduled. Now let's go to Blotato and let's see if it's actually scheduled. And there you go. You see the 31st at 9 a.m. It works successfully. And so what I would do if I was scheduling and for the week, which is what I'm going to do sometime this week, is I'll just hit run every single time when I'm done. I usually work in batches. So by the time I'm at that stage, I'm uploading all the videos ready to schedule. I already know what time they're going to get scheduled. I know which platforms they're going to be. I'm just uploading all the videos in one shot. Just takes a few seconds. Now, I've been using it for a few months now, which is crazy. So I've been posting 40, maybe more than 50 videos at this point, mostly shorts and LinkedIn, X. I will say one of the biggest things that I was scared of when I was using the system is, will I get suppressed if I'm using API? And just to answer that question, because I had that question earlier on, is no. You have to warm up your accounts first, but if you're just putting quality content, if you're just doing the right thing, you're not going to get penalized. I recommend you use a social media platform, whether it's Potato, but for me personally, this is the one that allows me to post on all the platforms pretty much no problem. But this is just the final phase of my content OS. I like to think of content in phases. And you have ideation, you have generation, and then you have editing, and then publishing. But if you want early access, I put together 15 prompts that I actually use to run my system more productively. You can also check out my link in the bio where I have a sign up form if you want to be in the wait list. So when the content OS drops, you'll be the first to know. Links in the description. So I hope this video was helpful, and feel free to shoot me with any questions.